In this episode of The Gay Bear, I'm going to be giving you the latest updates that I can find on the prosecution of Austin Wolf. In this video, I'm going to be looking at his first court appearance on the 29th of June, a summary of the court documentation, how the FBI tracked him, how the FBI caught him, and according to the court documents, how he distributed all of the videos. Finally, I'm going to be looking at what's going to be happening next. Just before I start, I would like to give a disclaimer that I am not in any way legally trained. I read these court documents as a layman, even though the vast majority of it was written in plain English. This is my interpretation of what I believe they meant. Okay, if you don't know about the arrest of Austin Wolf, there's a link coming up on the screen right now in the corner. You can click that link and it will take you back to my previous video where I explain his arrest and the charges in greater detail. However, if you don't want to do that, in summary, I can tell you this. On the 28th of June, after his New York apartment was raided by the FBI, Austin Wolf, whose real name is Justin Heath Smith, was arrested for distribution of indecent videos containing minors. Okay, let's move on. So, on his first court appearance, as he entered into the courtroom, he mouthed the words, "I'm sorry," to his husband of 10 years. And you can read into that whatever you want. His lawyers requested that he be allowed to go home and to be allowed to be under house arrest, waiting his further trial. But after the judge read all of the charges, this was denied. The judge said that he was a danger to children online, a danger to children offline, and a danger to children everywhere. He's currently being held in prison in Brooklyn, New York. I read through all of the charges and the types of videos he had, and I'm not going to go into that in great detail because there were hundreds of them, and some of them were violent in nature, and some of them contained children that were basically infants, and that's rancid, and I can't really comprehend it. It's uncomprehendable. However, changing the subject away from that, I did find some really interesting facts in the court documentation about how they caught him. So, I think that Austin Wolf is not the smartest criminal in the world because from what I understand from reading the court documents, he used his own mobile phone to distribute all of this nastiness as he went around on his day-to-day business. He clearly doesn't understand the concept of burner phones, and he clearly doesn't understand that all phones come with an unchangeable identification number inside called an IMEI. Now, this is important. So, what is an IMEI number? Each phone that is manufactured has a unique number that is stored inside. When you turn your phone on and your phone registers with a cell tower, it transmits your IMEI number, your mobile phone number, and other identification information. When you purchase your phone from wherever, your phone's IMEI number should be registered to you by name, so the police can track you and anything you do if needed. So now you understand about IMEI numbers, I can tell you that even though Austin Wolf was using anonymous accounts on Telegram, the person who he was actually communicating with was an FBI agent. And the way they caught him was they looked at his mobile phone on the cell network. And they looked at the size of the data that was being broadcast from his mobile phone, i.e. the size of the files, like videos and stuff, and then cross-checked it with the size of the files that the FBI agent was receiving. And they were an exact match. Therefore, they could deduce that Austin Wolf was the person who was actually sending the videos to the FBI agent. And after that, he was busted. Now, something else that was really interesting in the court documents were this. In the court documents, they say that they seized an SD card, and I assumed that this SD card came from his house. However, through reading the court documentation, it looks like that the SD card actually came from his phone. And what is really interesting about the SD card is that it contains, obviously, hundreds of videos of absolute nastiness, but it also contains photos of Austin Wolf himself. I believe, from reading the court documentation, that it actually contains his camera roll. So you've got one folder containing absolute nastiness and filth, and another folder containing the photos he's taken on his camera in his day-to-day life. So therefore, he's left next to this folder of absolute filth, like a huge amount of evidence that it's actually his, because if it is his camera roll, it probably goes back a very long time and it follows him throughout his day-to-day life. You know, pictures in the gym, pictures out to dinner, picture with friends, etc., etc. Now, in my opinion, that is a bit like, well, it doesn't exactly make him the criminal mastermind of the world. It's a bit like robbing a bank and asking the bank teller to hold your wallet and your ID while you rob the bank, and then taking a selfie with the security guard as you go out the door and posting it. You know, he literally has left like the hugest amount of evidence which is stacked up against him. Yeah, so in my opinion, not the world's smartest criminal. So we're going to look at what's going to now happen next. So Austin Wolf now has a second or another court appearance, which is on the 29th of July. I have a suspicion that he's going to plead guilty. It's just my suspicion. The reason why I think he's going to plead guilty is because he literally has got so much evidence stacked up against him. I mean, digitally, so much evidence stacked up against him. His mobile phone was registered to the network. He was distributing, according to the court documents, he was distributing the videos. The size of the files sent matched the size of the files received. They raided his house. They found the SD card. You know, it contains obviously a folder of filth, and it also contains photos of him, which I believe is his camera roll. I mean, I personally can't see how he can deny this, but then at the end of the day, we're all going to have to wait until the 29th of July. So I'm going to be watching this like a hawk. As soon as the 29th of July has come and gone, I will do another video updating everybody. So if you'd like to know what the outcome of this is, hit the subscribe button and I'll keep you up to date as soon as I know. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.